Brooke Shabbat Yom, brothers and sisters, Hebrews in Jamaica, the Caribbeans, the West, to the four corners of the earth, scattered greetings. This Shabbat lesson, we're going to title it Yahuah, the etymology behind his mighty name. Yahuah, etymology behind his mighty name, brothers and sisters, right? But before I get into the Shabbat lesson, I want to touch on a topic briefly, brothers and sisters, and then you can go and do your own research on this topic. But this chapter is going around these Egyptology and their stupidity and their doctrine of Balaam going around, right, brothers and sisters? Talking about the suffix or the word IAH is not synonymous with the name Yahuah or Yah, but is connected to the pagan deity called Osiris Ayah, AIAH, brothers and sisters, and that is, from the pit of hell, the deception. I tell you about my people and their stupidity and their itchy ears. You see what I mean? They love the soothsayers, the divinators, and the chanters. You see, brothers and sisters, they would not leave religion and pagan ideology alone. And because of that, brothers and sisters, they try to see I tell you, with black people, brothers and sisters, the more and more they try to be different from their own people, the more they stay the same. The more they remain the same, just like their oppressors. Come with their lies and deception, hate their roots and their culture and identity as Hebrews, royal people of the royal house of ethnic Israel, brothers and sisters. And that's the sad thing about it. You know what I mean? We were in Egypt, yes, but we were not Egyptians. Then repeat again, we were in Egypt, yes, but we are not Egyptians. So why on earth are you studying Egyptology to find yourself when you're not Egyptian? Why you are all obsessed with the Egyptian deities, the pagan gods, half man and half beast, they're hybrid beings? You see, brothers and sisters, yet still they are your gods. The Most High deliver us from the house of bondage. Why would you want to go back into the house of bondage? That is why He sent us again by ways of ship into the second house of bondage, spiritual house of bondage. Yet you will not emancipate yourself from mental slavery to free your minds with the word of the Most High, Yahuah and Yahushua, these commandments, brothers and sisters. How sad that is. You shall be destroyed of lack of knowledge. What is the lack of knowledge? The knowledge of Yahushua and His commandments. Right? So take a look at the screen, brothers and sisters, right? Take a look at the screen. Okay, brothers and sisters, suffix, right? The suffix IAH. The suffix IAH, right? In Hebrew typically indicates Yahuah, Yahweh, or the Adonai. As in the name Isaiah, you see the IAH, which means Yahuah is salvation, or Yahweh is salvation. It is commonly used in biblical name. Right? That's a suffix. Right, brothers and sisters? Okay, let's continue. Let's keep looking at the screen, brothers and sisters, right? Keep looking at the screen. The word IAH, right? Here's the root of it. IAH, Egyptian. JH, Coptic. Right? Is a lunar deity in ancient Egyptian religion. JA simply means moon. It is also described as Yah. See, transcribe. You see that? It is also transcribed. What the meaning of transcribe is, brothers and sisters, is to write or to speak. So this is how they would write the word or speak the word IAH, right? As Yah. That's how they would pronounce or speak, as Yah. This is how they would write it, as Jah or Ahala. You see that? Allah, a figure of Osiris Aya, closest appearance to the Aric god Aya. But look at this word and focus on this word, Allah. You see that? Allah. How you pronounce that word, that pagan god? Ah. You see how the word, the A stretch to 2A? Ah. And you have the A-A-H. Ah. Full stop. La. Full stop. Allah. Right, so let's look at that, brothers and sisters, right? Let's look at that more deeper, right? Okay, brothers and sisters, here's the image of Osiris Aya. Notice what is on his head. Crescent moon and disk, right? One crescent moon and a disk, a sun disk that indicates two things, brothers and sisters: sun and moon. Sun worship, that's where Sunday worship comes from, and the moon, which depicts Allah, A-A-H dot I-A-H, Allah, which is a Muslim God, brothers and sisters, right? It's a Muslim God, right, brothers and sisters? Here's another image of the same pagan God, right? Here's a third image. Notice with the third image, they depict him as half human and half bird, right, brothers and sisters? With the ankh in his hand, and the ankh supposed to signify everlasting life. But we know that Yahushua is everlasting life, brothers and sisters, right? He's eternal king. He's the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the Ancient of Days, right? Okay, brothers and sisters, I keep looking on the screen, right? We're going to get a bit further, a little deeper, right? Allah, the moon god. But much like Yahuah, Yahweh, Jehovah, is the personal name of the Elohim of the Bible. Allah was also the personal name given to the moon god, the highest of the 360 pagan idol worship in Mecca, Muhammad's hometown. So you see, brothers and sisters, these people know who is the true Elohim and his personal name. You saw me, and it has never been associated with no Egyptian deity, because Yahuwah was before any other god. Yahusha was before any other pagan god ever created on earth, brothers and sisters. You saw what I mean? So whoever promoting this Egyptology and this suffix IAH and trying to say that that's not the name of the Mosai, it is connected to some pagan deity in Egypt called Osiris Aya, brothers and sisters. Now you have a brief history, you can go and do research. I know those are lies. That's from a pit of hell. Right, brothers and sisters? Right, brothers and sisters? So, keep looking at the screen, right? Keep looking. Alright, Allah. Allah. Right? Allah. The moon god. But much like Yahuwah, alright, or Yod Haviha, Yahweh or Jehovah, is the personal name of the Elohim of the Bible. Allah was also the personal name given to the moon god, the highest of the 360 pagan idols worship in Mecca, Muhammad's hometown. What evidence is there that Islam's Allah is the pagan moon god of ancient Mecca? Consider what the pagan Arabians did to worship their moon god Allah. They prayed while bound down towards Kaaba, the house of Allah in Mecca that houses a meteorite, a stone from space. Several times a day, visited it once a year and walked around it several times during their visit, brothers and sisters. So I tell you, you got a free religion. You know what I mean? And these so-called camps, brothers and sisters, who leading you astray and teaching the word and teaching the doctrine of Balaam. I touched on Balaam last week. You see, brothers and sisters, many of these so-called Christian and Arab Christians are all them lifting up their heels against the natural branch. Now, who is the natural branch, brothers and sisters? You so-called black people who were taken in chattel slavery and scattered to the four corners of the earth. You are the natural branch. Because of your disobedience, why these other Gentiles have a chance to come into the kingdom, but they won't be the head of the body of the Mashiach. You will be the head of the body of the Mashiach, the 144,000, the remnant that were left, and those who join them. And the Gentile who going to be our servants, brothers, because that is written in scriptures. A lot of them like to talk about my father's word, our history, but tiptoe around certain scriptures that identify who the people are. The whole book talk about who the people are, yet they somehow manage to, avoid these things. You see, brother and sister, but you know what I mean. The most have a way, and the most I have his timing on revealing certain things, brothers and sisters. Right, right. Okay, so keep looking at the screen, brothers and sisters. Right, Allah of Islam, the God of the Bible. Question mark. What archaeology says about Allah? Allah was the pre-Islamic pagan moon god. So you see, IAH. Right? This is where it's from. Right? The root of it, brothers and sisters. Right? I showed you in the pics and the suffix and the meaning of IAH. And you notice, brothers and sisters, if you notice the image of the pagan god Osiris, he has the moon crescent on top of his head and the sun disk. So that you talk, that's dual religion right there in one, coming from Egypt. So everything pagan come out of Egypt, brothers and sisters, right? Because they are hybrid beings mixing with humans. You see, brothers and sisters. So you can do your research further on this. I'm just giving you a brief, introduction to this suffix IAH. Right? So Allah of Islam, the God of the Bible, question mark. What archaeology says about Allah? Allah was the pre-Islamic pagan moon god. The worship of the moon god was the main religion of the ancient Northeast African region. They say Middle East, but there's no such thing as Middle East. What do you mean Middle East? When you talk about Middle East, you right away your mind think of some exotic place away in some place in the middle of the ocean. No, it's Northeast Africa, brothers and sisters, and the surrounding areas, right? So the worship of the moon god was the main religion of the ancient Northeast Africa region. Right, dominant religion of Arabia during the Muhammad's day was the cult of the moon god. Right, for generation before Muhammad was born, the Arabs worshipped some 360 pagan gods housed at a stone temple in Mecca called Kaaba. Chief deity of Mecca was moon god called Alila. You see that word again? The same thing we talked about earlier when I show you the meaning of the suffix of the word IAH. Allah. And you see how they pronounce it right here? Alila. Allah. The I is silent. Allah. Which was shortened to Allah. In pre-Islamic times. So you see, brothers, it's very important to study the right doctrine and the right information connected to scriptures and the Hebraic root of it, brothers and sisters. So you won't get deceived by these pagan Egyptologists that teach in the doctrine of Balaam, brothers and sisters. You see. So I hope that explain the suffix IAH. Right? So let's get into the topic of the day for the Shabbat lesson, brothers and sisters, right? Yahuah, the etymology behind the mighty name. Yahuah, etymology behind his mighty name, brothers and sisters, right? Okay, brothers and sisters, right? Take a look at your screen, right? We're going to take it from Davarim, Deuteronomy, from the Sefer Bible, right? 32, colon 1 to 3. That's Davarim, Deuteronomy 32, colon 1 to 3. Give ear, O ye heavens, and I will speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. My doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew, as the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass, because I will publish the name of Yahuwah, ascribe ye greatness unto our Elohim. Right, brothers and sisters? Tehelalim, right? Tehelalim 22:22. I will declare your name unto my brethren in the midst of the assembly will I praise you. Right? Yahuah John 17:26. And I have declared unto them your name, and I will declare it, that the love wherewith you have loved me may be in them, and I in them. You see, brothers and sisters. The name of Yahuah, brothers and sisters, the mighty name of Yahuah, right? The mighty name of Yahuah, brothers and sisters, right? What is in his mighty name, right? We make mention herein of the name Yahuah. The tetragrammaton went unmentioned for over 2 millennia, based upon the infallible name doctrine articulate. After the destruction of the Second Temple, however, Josephus tells us in Wars of the Jews, Book 5, Chapter 5, Section 7, that the tetragrammaton, right, the tetragrammaton was pronounced by the priests prior to the temple's destruction, and they pronounced it as 4 vowels. We believe that the demands of the language declare those vowels to be, right? Okay, brothers and sisters, take a look at the screen, right? So we believe that the demands of the language declare those vowels to be Yahuah, right? Yahuah, right? Which we have captured in the construction of the word Yahuah. The construct of the first 2 letters is one that is common in modern Hebrew, where the yod is pronounced E, with the vowel He being pronounced A, creating Iha, which we have captured as Ya. Right? The construct of this pronunciation is one that is common in modern Hebrew, where the He is pronounced with the vowel A, creating Ya. So you see, brothers and sisters, so this wordplay with this Egyptology, nuts out there trying to portray the IAH is not connected to Yah, but the pagan god Osiris, you see what I mean, is totally false, brothers and sisters. He may be named IAH, but as you see earlier in the lesson, it is only transcribed to. And we know the word transcription or transcribe means to, 1, to write the actual word, or 2, to speak it. So when you speak the word IAH, is Ayah. It's similar to Yah, right? Right, brothers? But it's not the same. But they try to make it as if the word Yah is connected to Osiris, the pagan moon and sun god, in one. And that's Balaam doctrine from the pit of hell. Right, brothers and sisters? That's the Balaam teachings from the pit of hell. Right? So let's go over this again. We believe that the demands of the language declare those vowels to be E-E-A-H-O-O-A-H, pronounced Yahu, Yahu, right? Or Yahuah, right? Yahuah, right? Which we have captured in the construction of the word Yahuah. The construct of the first 2 letters is one that is common in modern Hebrew, where the yod is pronounced E, with the vowel He being pronounced A, creating Ia, Yahuah, huh? which we have captured as Yah. The construct of this pronunciation is one that is common in modern Hebrew, where the He is pronounced with the vowel A, created Yah. Right? This name stands alone as Yah 45 times in the Tanakh, the Torah. Right, brothers and sisters? And you can see that in Exodus 15, right, colon 2, Exodus 17, colon 16. Please take these scriptures down and go read them for yourself, brothers and sisters, right? Psalm 68, colon 18, Psalm 77, colon 11, Psalm 89, colon 8, right? Psalms 94, colon 7, Psalms 94, colon 12, Psalm 102, 18, 104, 35, Psalm 105, colon 45, Psalm 106, 1, Psalm 106, 48, Psalms 111, 1, Psalms 112, 1, Psalms 113, 1, Psalms 113, 9, Tehillim 11, 115, 17, Psalms 115, 18, Psalms 116, 19, right? Psalms 117, 2, and so forth, brothers and sisters, right? Then you got Isaiah 26, 4, Isaiah 12, colon 2, Isaiah 38, 11, brothers and sisters, right? So take these scriptures down and go read them for yourself and study them, right, brothers and sisters? Right, brothers and sisters, keep looking at the screen, right? In Shemot, Exodus 3, colon 14, Elohim gives his name as Ihaya Asha Ihaya. Right? Ihaya Asha Ihaya. Right? Ihaya Ashaya. Ihaya Asha Ihaya. Translate most basically as I am that I am. Right? Ihaya Asha Ihaya. Translated most basically as I am that I am, or I will be that I will be. However, in Bereshit, Genesis 2, colon 4, first set forth the name Yahuah, and it is established in the vocalization Yahuah where the vav is used in its vowel form as an U or O, rather than declaring the vowel as a jot beside the consonant hey. So the yod is pronounced as ye, the hey is pronounced as ah, the vav is pronounced as o, and the hey is pronounced as ah. Therefore, the pronunciation is Yahuah or Yahuah. You see, brothers and sisters. Let me go over this again. The Shemot, Exodus 3, colon 14, Elohim gives his name as Ihaya Asha Ihaya. Right? Ihaya Asha Ihaya, translated most basically as I am that I am, or I will be that I will be. However, in the Bereshit, Genesis 2, colon 4, first set forth the name Yahuah, and it established in the vocalization Yahuah where the vav is used in its vowel form as an U or O, rather than declaring the vowel as a jot beside the consonant hey. So the yod is pronounced as e, the hey is pronounced as ah, the vav is pronounced as o, and the hey is pronounced as ah. Therefore, the pronunciation is Yahuah or Yahuah. You see, brothers and sisters. To ignore the ah in the end is a disservice as is found in the pronunciation Yahweh, as the ah is the breath of the Father within his own name. This claim is supported with the following example concerning the change of the name of Avram to Avraham. Hence, when the scripture said Yahusha come in his father's name, Yahusha, Yahuah, came in his father's name, right? Neither shall your name anymore be called Avram, but your name shall be called Avraham. For a father of many nations have I made you. Bereshit, Genesis 17, colon 5, brothers and sisters, right? Keep looking on the screen, brothers and sisters, right? Keep looking on the screen. Right here, the A-H, is breathed into Avram, and the covenant is expressed as an everlasting covenant. The breath of life was then poured into Avraham, wife Sarai, who became Sarah. Bereshit, Genesis 17, colon 15. For this reason, pronunciations such as Yahweh or Yahva or Yavo or Yava are not wireless disparate. Yahweh instead of Yahuah, Yahweh instead of Yahweh. However, Yahuah is the more accurate. You see, brothers and sisters, right? Okay, brothers and sisters, keep looking at the screen. We have set forth the name of the Messiah as Yahusha, right? Partly because this name is identical to the name as was set forth in Bimidbar number describing the Ephraimi Husha, the son of Nun, who was selected as one of the 12 to spy out the promised land during the beginning of Shemot Exodus, right? Bimidbar Numbers 13:8 of the tribe of Ephraim, Husha, the son of Nun. Bimidbar Numbers 13:16. These are the names of the men which Moshe sent to spy out the land, and Moshe called Husha, the son of Nun, Yahusha. Right? In the Masoretic text, you see the name Yahusha spelled only twice as Yod. In the Masoretic text, you see the name Yahusha spelled only twice as Yod He Va, Shin Va Ayin, or Yahushua. Therefore, the assumption is that Moshe added not only Yah, the name of he who visited Moshe at the burning thorn bush, but also added the Vav to create Shua, right, as the ending syllable at least in 2 instances, right? Right, brothers and sisters? Okay, brothers and sisters, keep looking at the screen. Let's look at Strong's Hebrew Dictionary to see what Shua definition and description is, brothers and sisters. So, Strong's Hebrew Dictionary 7737 set forth Shua as the word Shavah, giving a V sound to the Va rather than the much more common U, right? Strong's Hebrew Dictionary 7737 set forth Shua as the word Shavah, giving a V sound to the Vav rather than the much more common U. Its usage is construed to mean to level, i.e., equalize, figuratively, to resemble, by implication, to adjust, i.e., counterbalance, be suitable, compose, place, yield, etc., to avail, behave, bring forth, compare, countervail, be or make equal, lay, be or make alike, make plain, profit, or reckon, brothers and sisters. So you see. Therefore, the uniquely used name Yahushua can be understood as Yah in the Ivrit Hebrew, which is the short name of the father, Shu, the Ivrit, which means he, and finally Shua in the Ivrit, which means makes level or equal. Therefore, Yahusha means in this honest, Yah is he who makes equal. You see, brothers and sisters, right? Yahusha, in contrast, is found 175 times in the Tanakh, right? And it has a wonderful meaning. Strong's H3467 declares that Yasha, right? Yasha is used as a primitive root meaning probably to be open, wide, or free. That is, by implication, to be safe, casualtively, to free or succor, to avenge, defend, deliver, help, preserve, rescue, to be saved, to bring or to have salvation, to save or to be a savior, or to get victory. We have elected to publish the name of Yahusha, right, in the first instance because it is the most accurate transliteration of the name given to the Mashiach, as he was given the name as Husha, Yahusha, son of Nun, whom the English world has always called Joshua. Septuagint, in recognition or recognizing or reckoning the ancient Ivrit scripture to Koine Greek, translated the name of Yahusha in English Joshua as Iusus. The Messiah has the same name as Joshua, son of Nun. Proof can be found in comparing the Septuagint rendering of the name with the rendering of the name in the book, in the Bezorah. Right, brothers and sisters? Bezorah simply means gospel. Right? Okay, brothers and sisters, let's look at the Septuagint. Joshua, right? 1:10-11, right? And Joshua commanded the scribes of the people, saying, Go into the midst of the camp of the people, and command the people, saying, Prepare provision for yet 3 days, and ye shall go over this Jordan, entering in to take possession of the land which Yahuah ELOHAYU of your fathers gives to you. Right? Look at the Greek in the Greek, right? Notice how they use iousos, right? And we went through the etymology of those, right? Already, right? We see here that the word iousos is the Greek word we interpret as Joshua in the English. Now let us compare it with Matthew 1 in Stephanos, Texas, Receptus Greek, right? Stephanos, Texas, Receptus Greek, right? Stephanos, Texas, Receptus. The acceptance that Joshua held the same name as the Messiah is acknowledged by most 20th century publishers of scriptures in Avraham, Hebrews 4:8, where the Greek set forth the name Iosus, yet where virtually all 20th century publishers have translated the name as Joshua. Right? Okay, brothers and sisters, let's look at Avraham, Hebrews. Let's look at Avraham, Hebrews 4:8 to 10. For if Yahusha, the son of Nun, right, had given them rest, perchance another would speak again of this. There remains therefore a Shabbat for the people of Yah. For he that is entered into his rest, he also has ceased from his own work, as Yahuah did from his. You see that, right? So, for if Joshua the son of Nun had given them rest, perchance another would speak again of this day. There remains therefore a Shabbat for the people of Yah. For he that is entered into his rest, he also has ceased from his own work, as Yahuah did from his. Right? So we can therefore determine exactly what all of the modern scripture interpreters have concluded in the translation of the passages in Avraham, Hebrews 4:8, that the name of the Mashiach is in Avrit, right? Whatever the name of Joshua was in Avrit Hebrew, which of course was Yahusha. Right, brothers and sisters, so we can therefore determine exactly what all of the modern scripture interpreters have concluded in the translation of the passages in Avraham, Hebrews 4:8, that the name of the Mashiach is in Avrit. Whatever the name of Joshua was in the Avrit, right, which of course was Yahusha, 175 instances compared with Yahushua or Yahushua found only 2 times. This name Yahusha means I am he who avenges, defends, delivers, help, preserves, save, brings salvation. Your Savior who brings you to victory. Right, brothers and sisters? Yachid. Another wonderful word we have elected to use in the text is the word Yachid, which is in use declares tremendous meaning in its first use. We find it in Bereshit with the instruction of Abraham saying, right? Let's look at that, brothers. Bereshit, Genesis 22:2. And he said, Take now your son, your Isaac, whom you love, and get you into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell you. Right? Mount Moriah. That's where the temple was built. Right? So yes, brothers and sisters, Mount Moriah is where the original temple was built. You know what I mean? And where they call Jerusalem right now, if you travel from where they say Beersheba is to Mount Moriah, you would not travel there in 3 days and 3 nights, like how Abraham did on his donkey. Right? But the original Beersheba, right, in the land of Benjamin, the southern kingdom, From there to Mount Moriah, you will travel 3 days and 3 nights on a donkey. Now that things are modernized, it's less with a car or whatever, brothers and sisters, right? So I just want to put that nugget inside there. Again, go back on my Mount Zion series, brothers and sisters, you will see all that in detail. Also, check out the land of Benjamin. You see, brothers and sisters, right? Okay, so Isaac was not the firstborn, nor the only begotten son of Avram, but he was nonetheless Yachid. The word Yachid is not just reserved for describing sons, however, but also daughters. In Shoftim 11:34, it is written. That's Judges, right? Shoftim, Judges, right? And Yitzhak came to Mizpah unto his house, and behold, his daughters came out to meet him, and with trembling and with dances. And she was as Yachida beside her, and had neither son nor daughter. Right? The Yachid is then better understood as the beloved child, not necessarily only begotten. Consider the comment of Shalomah, who said in Michel as follows: For I was my father's son, tender and only Yachid in the sight of my mother. Micheli, Proverbs 4:3, right, brothers and sisters? However, there are 3 passages which cannot be ignored where the word Yachid, son, is applicable. It is these passages which gave rise to our editorial decision to include the word Yachid in these messages, right? So let's look at Jeremiah, right? 6:26. Okay, let's look at Jeremiah 6:26, right? O daughter of my people, gird you with sackcloth and wallow yourself in ashes. Make you mourning as for your chin, most bitter lamentation, for the spoiler shall suddenly come upon us. Right? Here's another one. Amos 8:10. Right? And I will turn your feasts into mourning, and all your songs into lamentation, and I will bring up sackcloth upon all lions, and baldness upon every head, and I will make it as the morning of Yachid, and the end thereof as a bitter day. Right? Zechariah 12:10. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the Ruach Chen Takachinium, spirit of grace and supplication, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourns for his Yachid, his son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. You see, brothers and sisters. So it is with these considerations that we have made the following changes. For Yah so loved the world that he gave his Yachid son, that whosoever believe in him should not perish but have everlasting life. Yochanan 3:16. And we know when we study world in scripture, it's not talking about the entire world, because God does not love everybody. He loved the world of Israel. And I did a lesson upon that, you know what I mean? So you can go back in my archives, right? Those because as you can see, brothers and sisters, Christians are run away with John 3:16, right? For God so loved the world, right? But if they fail to understand, if they continue to read, they will see for Elohim loves the world that he gave his only begotten son, right? That whoso believe in him should not perish but have everlasting lives, right? So who did the most I gave his son for? Yashrael. That's the word he's talking about. That whoso believeth in him in Yashrael should not perish but have everlasting life. You see, brothers and sisters. Study the word world in scripture. You will see what world is the most I speaking of. Right? So we see on the topic of Yachid, son. Consider also our use of another term similar in nature to this term Yachid. By carrying with in additional meaning, this word we have elected to use in the term by which the Ennes call themselves, namely Yached, This word in its application means to be one or to become one or to join or to unite, yet it appears to be the joining of the word Yah and the word Itchad, one. Yachad then means to be joined or to be united with Yah. Therefore, we made the following change. Neither pray I for these alone, but for them also which shall believe on me through their word, that they all may be Yachid's son, as you, Father, are in me, and I in you, that they also be Yachad in our Son, that the word may believe that you have sent me. And the glory which you have given me, I have given them, that they may be Yachid's son, even as we are Yachid's son. Right? That's Yahuah John 17, 20 to 22. Right, brothers and sisters? Hillel. Yeshayahu, Isaiah 14 is well known as the only place in all of scriptures where some Bible have substituted the name Lucifer with the name Lucifer the light bearer. Does not actually appear in the original Ivrit Hebrew. The original Ivrit indicates that there is no such name, and further that it is an extrapolation of what may actually be the true name of the fallen angel. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? Isaiah 14, 12. The term reading right to left looks conspicuously like Hey Yod Lem, Hel, or Hell. The pronunciation, however, places more vowel yielding Hellel. There are but two angels identified in the Protestant Bible, Michael and Gabriel or Gabriel. Both names end with the identifier EL. We have the same condition with Hellel, leading to the possible conclusion that the word is actually the name of an angel, in this case, possibly the fallen angel Hellel. However, this same word may simply be the word Yal-al, set with the he as a prefix meaning the. This word is not preferenced or interpreted in any other English text besides this Sefer word Yal-al, meaning howling. Hence, the phrase which formerly referred Lucifer now reads as follows: How are you fallen from heaven, O Hallel, son of the howling morning? How are you cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? Right? That's Isaiah 14, 12. Dead Sea Scrolls. You will also find a reference to books that you may not recognize if you are an adherent to the post-19th century Protestant Bible, and it's 66 books. This citation includes books such as the Sefer Yovelim Jubilees, the Sefer Chanok Enoch, the Seferim Baruch, the Seferim Ezra, or the Seferim Maccabees. These books are called the Deuteronocanon, right? Deuteronocanon, or second books. Some of these books have been called the Apocrypha, secret writings. Over the years, these books have been concluded from the 66 books of the Bible. However, this conclusion cannot be justified historically. In the 2nd century BC, 70 Arabists translated 46 books from Ivrit Hebrew to Greek, a translation called the Septuagint. Septuagint did not include the Sefer Chanok Enoch and the Sefer Yovelim Jubilees. In the 1st century, the early believers relied on the Septuagint as their source of sacred scripture, and the writings of the Brit Chadisha New Testament also indicates that there was reliance on the Sefer Chanok Enoch, Yovelim Jubilees, and for Ezra, 2nd Esdras. Right? Allegedly, the first attempt to limit the books available to the believers happened at the Council of Laodicea in 368 AD. This council created 60 rules or canons. The 60th canon concluded that the books of the Old Testament which were approved to be read were 1. Genesis of the world, 2. The Exodus from Egypt, 3. Leviticus, 4. Numbers, 5. Deuteronomy, 6. Joshua the son of Nun, 7. Judges, 8. Ruth, 3rd and 4th Chronicles, right? 1st and 2nd Esdras, 1st and 2nd the books of Psalms, the Proverbs of Solomon, Ecclesiastes, the Song of Solomon, Job, the 12 prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Baruch, Lamentation, and the epistles, Ezekiel, Daniel. The books are individually counted, and this list includes Baruch and the epistle of Jeremiah. Right, brothers and sisters? The council then concluded that the books of the Brit Chadisha New Testament which were approved to be read were the 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the Acts of the Apostles, 7 epistles, to wit 1 of James, the 7 Catholic epistles, to wit 1 of James, 2 of Peter, 3 of John, 1 of Jude, 14 epistles of Paul, and to the Romans, 2 of the Corinthians, 1 to the Galatians, 1 to the Ephesians, 1 to the Philippians, 1 to the Colossians, 2 to the Thessalonians, 1 to the Hebrews, 1 to Timothy, 1 to Titus, and 1 to Philemon. 26 books were counted, and the book of Revelation was excluded. The authenticity of the 60th canon has been doubted by many scholars because it is absent from most manuscripts containing the degree of the Council of Laodicea. The list was likely added later. The Greek text which supposedly set forth this canon was created by and according to B.F. Westcott from his book A General Survey of the History of the Canon of the Testament, 5th edition, Edinburgh, 1881. Those who claim this list rely on a writer of Cyril of Jerusalem, right, who took it upon himself to declare which books were to be read and which not. There was no synod concurrence, and further there was no canon adopted. As a result, we simply have the opinion of Cyril. He rejected the book of Revelation and left only 26 books in the New Testament. According to Westcott, the Council of Laodicea adopted the existing Tanakh, Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim as the total text of the Old Testament. It is in its rule, although the order was obscure around AD 100. Jewish rabbis met at the Council of Gemnia and concluded on 39 books only as a general accepted Tanakh, because allegedly they were the only text that could be found in the original average Hebrew. Recall that 3 centuries earlier, 72 leaders of the tribes of Yashareel translated 46 books from Average to Greek in the Septuagint. The 60th canon has little or no value as the absence Chizayon revelation from the New Testament is fatal to its reception as a munical definition of the canon of the Holy Scriptures to all Orthodox believers, as is the absence of the Book of Wisdom from the Old Testament to its reception by those who accepted the book of the Greek collection Septuagint as distinguished from the Jewish collection Tanakh. Historically, the 60th canon has not been accepted as genuine. The text by Innocent of Rome did not comport with this list. The 60th canon was also omitted by John of the Antioch, one of the most esteemed and oldest Greek collectors of canons. Bishop Martin of Braga in the 60th century, though he had the 59 canon, also did not include in his collection the 60th canon, so nearly related to it, nor does the Isidorian translation appear at first to have had this canon. The delineation of sacred scriptures by rule canon began to emerge in the late 4th century and early 5th century. With the work of St. Jerome, aka Eusebius, Jerome sought to limit the books of the Old Testament to the 39 books of the Tanakh. He was overruled, however, by Pope Damascus, who wanted all 46 traditionally accepted books, including the Old Testament. So the Latin Vulgate Old Testament was finalized but not canonized with 46 books. The exact list of the books of the New Testament in the number and order in which they are traditionally delivered was set forth by Athanasius, Bishop of Alexandria, in a letter of AD 367. Right, and Pope Damascus later ratified the same list. This list was later affirmed in the Moratorium fragment, a 7th century Latin translation of a Greek original written around the 4th century. Martin Luther began his translation and his canonization of the Bible at the Wartburg Castle, where he was held prisoner by Frederick the Wise of Saxony. For his own safety, from May 1521 to April 1522, he limited the Old Testament to only 39 books, but the extra books in appendix he called the Apocrypha. He also removed the books of Hebrews, James, Jude, and Revelation from the New Testament order, declaring them to be less than canonical. The response in AD 546, the Catholic Council of Trent reaffirmed the canonicity of all 46 books originally found in the Septuagint and affirmed the full list of 27 books of the New Testament as traditionally accepted, to wit, of the Old Testament, the 5 books of Moses, to wit, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 4 books of Kings, 2 of Paralimopianium, Chronicles, 2 Chronicles, the first book of Esdras, and the second, which is entitled Nehemiah, Tobias, Judith, Esther, Job, Levitical, Pastoral Psalms, consisting of 150 psalms, and provide Ecclesiasticus, the Canticles of Canticles, Songs of Solomon, Wisdom, Proverbs, Ecclesiasticus, Isaiah, Jeremiah, with Baruch, Ezekiel, Daniel, the 12 minor prophets, 2 with Hosea, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Adias, Obadiah, Jonas, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Aggeus, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi, 2 books of the Maccabees, the first and the second of the New Testament, the 4 Gospels according to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the Acts of the Apostles written by Luke the Evangelist, 14 epistles of Paul the Apostle to the Romans, 2 to the Corinthians, 1 to the Galatians, to the Ephesians, to the Philippians, to the Colossians, 2 to the Thessalonians, 2 to Timothy, 1 to Titus, to Philemon, to the Hebrews, 2 of Peter the Apostle, 3 of John the Apostle, 1 of the Apostle James, 1 of Jude the Apostle, and the Apocalypse of John the Apostle. But if anyone received not as a sacred or canonical the said books entire, with all their parts, as they have been used to be read in the Catholic Church, and as they are contained in the Old Latin Vulgate edition, and only they deliberately contempt the tradition and said, let him be anathema. Let all therefore understand in what order and in what manner the said synod, after having laid the foundation of the confession of faith, will proceed, and what testimony and authorities it will mainly use in confirming dogmas and in restoring morals in the body. Those who knowingly and deliberately contempt the 46 books of the Old Testament and the 27 books of the New Testament are anathema to the canonized law. This canon is the first and last official canon of the Church, as it to the list of books to be included in the Roman Catholic Bible. In 1535, Coverdale Bible, 1560 Geneva Bible, and the 1611 King James Bible Authorized Version contain a 39-book Old Testament, a 15-book Apocrypha, and a 27-book Testament, New Testament. The reduction of the Authorized Version to only 66 books, violating the canonic law list, followed the publication of the Westminster Confession of 1641 and the beheading of Charles I of England. It was adopted by the Scottish Presbyterian, which coincided with the rise of the Kirk Church in Scotland and then in England. For many reasons, this method of inclusion and by default exclusion has relegated significant books to the dustbin. For instance, the justification of the elimination of the Maccabees is not set forth in a decision of the council. The argument that the Maccabees are merely historical ignores the extent that these writings answer many of the obscure prophecies found in Daniel 11. The canon of Trent excluded Maccabees, right? Shilesir, Maccabees and Maccabee Revihi, Fourth Maccabees, Baruch, Shinai, Second Baruch, and Ezra, Shilesi or Shileshai, and Revihi or Revihai, 3 and 4 Ezra, Chanok, Enoch or Chanok, Enoch, and Yovahelim Jubilees. These were excluded from the Vulgate. These books appear as deuterocanonical works in various parts of the world. However, for instance, both the Sefer Chanok Enoch and Sefer Yovelim Jubilees appear in the Abyssinian sect as deuterocanonical works. 1 and 2 Esdras appear in the 1535 Coverdale and the 1560 Geneva and the 1611 King James Version Authorized. Right, brothers and sisters? So, brothers and sisters, I'm going to end the Shabbat lesson here, and I hope you get the understanding, because this is going to be a part 2, brothers and sisters, right? So, the Most High Spirit Life next week, you get a part 2 of this, you know what I mean? In-depth discussion of the etymology behind the mighty name of Yahuah, brothers and sisters, right? So, I hope this lesson bless you and keep you, brothers and sisters. And, do not let people out there with the spirit of Balaam to distract you and to, deceive you and bewitch you with their soothsaying and lies, brothers and sisters. That is why it's very important that you go out and study these things for yourselves, right? It's very important, brothers and sisters, that you go out there and study these things for yourselves so you can get a better understanding of the scriptures and who you are in scriptures. You are his people and sheep of his pastors, brothers and sisters. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise, brothers and sisters. Be thankful unto him and bless his name, for Yahuah is good, his mercy is everlasting, and his truth endured to all generations, brothers and sisters. Right? So, you must come back to these laws, commandments, and statutes. More importantly, come back to the name of Yahuah. In Yahusha's name, brothers and sisters. Believe in it, hope in it, have faith in it. Right? Pray to Yahuah in Yahusha's name for Ruach HaKodesh to open your heart, mind, and soul so you could understand his word and to have the zeal for his word, brothers and sisters, that you may apply his commandment to your life and your heart and to your children's heart. But that's what's missing in the so-called black community, whether we are scattered, brothers and sisters. We're missing Yahusha, we're missing his commandments. Because we sit there and we listen to the word and deception, the lies of the word, and we love to have it so. Because many of you already rejected the Most High from the foundation of the earth, even though you are Israelites. You know what I mean? Even in our forefathers' time, we had wicked Israelites living among us. That is why, when they come with their mixed seed and their mixed wives, the Most High was to get rid of them and their children. That's a perfect example of, rebellious among Israel. You could see the same thing happening today. You know, our women running down these oppressors, mixing the seed with them. This guy Michael Rappaport and his racist rant calling, you saw I mean, black people dumb and black tars, and he himself married to a Hebrew sister, a black woman. I'm not even going to touch on her mindset, because you right there, right, that's a curse on itself. She bring a curse upon her own self by going against the King Commandment. Likewise with men, black men who practice this divesting lifestyle. You see what I mean? You only bringing judgment upon yourself, because you see what I mean? This man Michael Rappaport calling people black dumb tars, and he married to one of them who is describing, one of us who is describing as black dumb tar. So go figure, right, you divestors? Good job, well done. Well done, man. You know, you shall be destroyed. Well done. Yes, well done. Right? On that note, Brooke Yahuah is ever hope, Brooke Yahuah Shama Shiach, Shana, Vishna, blessed love and shalom.